Pennsylvania is a picturesque state of rivers, farm fields, and houses that dot the hills.
I've lived here my entire life.
But humane law enforcement officer Jennifer Niels warns all that glitters isn't gold.
These woods, they hide so much.
Niels says the ugly truth is that down these long, winding driveways is too often an animal suffering.
We can't do our job without the community being able to look out for the animals too and reporting what they see. If they turn a blind eye, 9 out of 10 chances we'll never find them.
Like the produce delivery driver that spotted this puppy near death, covered in a foul-smelling mange. The backyard breeder, not interested in providing medical care, allowed the man to take him.
When I went to pick him up, he was in a little cardboard box in a garage, and I laid blankets out on my seat, and I said, if he's going to pass away, it's going to be comfortably.
Are we a licker? But Libre lived and gave a furry face to the need for tougher animal cruelty laws.
These people are actually having to stand in front of a judge now to respond to the things that they actually did.
As lawmakers and animal groups fight to change laws, Niels says it is her job to enforce them.
Let's get this one out of here right now before it dies.
Niels grew up watching the animal cops on Animal Planet.
You have to be prepared.
Humane officers are hired by nonprofits, in her case, the Pennsylvania SPCA, but they have police authority to enforce the state's animal cruelty laws. In many communities, they are the only ones that do.
We have arresting powers, we do search warrants, we give out charges as well, we go to court.
While she does need local permission to investigate potential crimes, she is not bound by city or county jurisdictions. Niels says she's driven more than 600 miles in one day, crisscrossing communities to investigate tips. They range from a farmer accused of neglecting his injured draft horse.
I ordered veterinary care within the next 48 hours for the horse. The leg needs attention.
To a small-scale breeder.
Right here it is.
Tethering his dog 24 hours a day, a violation of Pennsylvania's law. The tips get her on property where she is always looking for other concerns. In this case, kennel structures and the sound of dogs. She makes a note to verify it's licensed.
Just to be sure, they're on the up and up.
The PSPCA says having someone independent that is dedicated to nothing but animal cruelty is important.
The animal is not going to provide us with information on who did what to them at that moment. And being able to make assessments based upon how the animal is acting, the physical condition of the animal, those are all things that you have to be able to consistently be trained on.
Sergeant Nicole Wilson leads the PSPCA's program. She says better training leads to better prosecution.
This year we're on track to be between 95 and 98% successful prosecutions.
It's an accomplishment.
We've only lost one case the whole year.
A recent case, an unlicensed vet debarking dogs by shoving a pipe down their throats. Niels says some breeders do it so nosy visitors won't know the dogs are there.
She would just do these procedures on dirty barn floors. It wasn't sanitary. The animals were not under anesthesia.
Already this year, the Pennsylvania SPCA has conducted more than 4,000 investigations, and along with that come hundreds of dogs that not only need shelter, but medical care.
We spend, depending on a given year, between $3 and $4 million.
It is money and resources police departments simply don't have.
Those local and state police officers don't have any place to take those animals if they seize them.
Which probably makes it less likely that they'll do anything.
It makes it very challenging for them.
The PSPCA says it is challenging for them as well. You are dependent upon the public to feel like what you're doing is important.
Oh, yes.
This bust, a perfect example. The state cited the owners for operating an illegal kennel. Now, what kind of dog is this?
Cane Corso.
But it is the PSPCA that will care for the dogs and press charges for keeping them in unsafe conditions.
Some of the dogs came in with upper respiratory issues, infections.
Many will have to be kept for months as evidence while the criminal case plays out in court. Wilson says donors realize animal cruelty is often linked to other crimes.
Many of our animal neglect cases also have a component of other people being neglected as well, whether it is an elderly member of the family, whether it is children within the household. When you're talking about animal fighting, you have obviously the drugs and the guns involved.
Niels says the job comes with a lot of responsibility. It It is physically and emotionally exhausting.
This job, no matter how many times I've lost sleep over it, no matter how heart-wrenching it is, I don't think I could imagine myself in a different position.
So do we have anything like this in Georgia?
Some cities, mainly in the metro, do have dedicated officers, but these positions in Pennsylvania, they're multi-jurisdictional, more like our GBIs, so they can cover those areas that can't or won't enforce the state's animal cruelty laws. And those convictions count because in Pennsylvania, anyone convicted of animal cruelty is barred from operating a kennel.
And Rebecca, is Georgia interested in making any of these changes?
They are. Senator Kay Kirkpatrick is already taking a look at some of these ideas and others that have been presented to her to try to figure out just what makes sense for our state. And many of these ideas, they can be implemented without legislation. So we're waiting to see just what the Department of Agriculture decides to do.